You may be standing at a crossroads in life right now, feeling uncertain about your path. You might be questioning why things have happened the way they have, or wondering if there's a greater purpose behind everything. Let me tell you today, this is not coincidence. There is a divine hand guiding you through every trial, every victory, and every setback. Every step you take is part of a greater plan, and nothing happens by chance. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. You're not just wandering aimlessly through life. No, God has a purpose for you, and He's been guiding you every step of the way, even when you couldn't see it. There are no accidents in His plan. You are here, right where you are, because He has ordained it. Take a moment to think about all the twists and turns in your life. Have you ever wondered how you got to where you are today? How you made it through the hardest times? How the pieces of your life, which seemed to be falling apart, eventually came together in ways that only make sense now? That's not by coincidence. That's God's hand at work. God is guiding you even when you don't realize it. He's been whispering to your heart, opening doors, closing others, and giving you strength when you thought you had nothing left. There's a reason for every encounter, for every relationship, and for every opportunity. Every event in your life is being used for His glory and for your growth. Let me tell you, this is just the beginning. You are on the path that God has designed for you. The challenges you've faced weren't meant to break you. They were meant to build you. The disappointments you've experienced weren't meant to defeat you. They were meant to redirect you toward something greater. You know, life sometimes feels like a never-ending race. We wake up, go to work, deal with problems, and try to juggle everything at once. But have you ever paused for a moment and wondered, why am I here? Why does everything seem so hard sometimes? I want you to stop right there and think about this. Have you ever faced something so difficult that it felt like the world was against you? Maybe it was a job loss, a breakup, or just a season of life that felt like you were stuck. But now, looking back, don't you see? It was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to transform you. You know how people always say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? It's not just a catchy phrase, it's truth. Every obstacle you face, every challenge, every moment of hardship is not there to tear you down. It's there to refine you, to make you better than before. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at the rocky path below. You're scared. You wonder if you can make it. But then you remember something. If you don't take that first step, you'll never know what's waiting for you on the other side. That's how life works. It throws obstacles at you to see if you'll give up or rise above them. And let me tell you, it's in those moments when you're at your lowest, when you feel like giving up is the only option, that's when you realize something incredible. You're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you give yourself credit for. Those struggles you've been through weren't meant to defeat you. They were meant to prepare you for what's next. Let me give you an example. Think about a young athlete preparing for the Olympics. Every single day, they wake up early, work through grueling training sessions, and push their body to its limits. They face pain, exhaustion, and frustration, and there are days they just want to quit. But they don't. They keep going. Why? Because they know that all of that pain is necessary for their growth. It's all part of the process. They are building strength, endurance, and resilience. And when they finally step onto that podium, it's not just the gold medal they're celebrating, it's everything they've been through to get there. The sweat, the tears, the sacrifice. None of it was wasted. It was all part of the journey to greatness. Life is exactly like that. The hardships you go through, the late nights, the doubts, the tough decisions, the brokenness, they are shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for the success you're about to step into. The pain you're feeling today is temporary, but the strength it's giving you, that's permanent. It's building something inside of you that nothing can ever take away. I know it feels like a lot sometimes. Maybe you're working hard on something and seeing no results. You're putting in all your energy, and yet it seems like things aren't moving. You wonder, is this all in vain? But listen to me, it's not. Every step you take, every effort you put in, even the ones that seem to get you nowhere, they are leading you somewhere. That project you're working on, that dream you're pursuing, it's not happening by accident. Every challenge, every setback is a stepping stone to your growth. Think of all the successful people you admire. Did they get there by avoiding difficulties? No. They faced failure after failure, rejection after rejection, but they never stopped. They kept moving forward one step at a time because they knew that nothing good comes without a little struggle. You know what else is important to realize? The strength that you gain from these struggles is not just for you. It's for others too. Think about it. When you overcome something difficult, you become a living example of what's possible. Your story becomes a beacon of hope for others who are going through the same thing. Imagine if the world only saw success, only saw the finished product. They would never know the sacrifices, the pain, and the perseverance that led to that success. Your struggles are giving you something to share with others, to inspire them, to show them that it's possible to get through their own trials. Take a moment to think of all the times in your life when you thought you couldn't go on. Think of that time when you were broken, defeated, and thought it was the end. But look at you now. You're still here, stronger, wiser, ready for what's next. And it wasn't by coincidence. Those moments were not by chance. They were part of a divine process that has been working behind the scenes. Everything that happened to you was for a reason, even if you couldn't see it at the time. When you're going through the storm, it's hard to see the rainbow on the other side. But trust me, it's there. You're being shaped and molded into something greater. Every struggle you face today is preparing you for the greatness that lies ahead. And even when you feel lost, when the road seems unclear, remember this: you are not alone. Every single experience, every step, every fall, and every rise is leading you toward your destiny. It's all part of the plan. The obstacles you face are not there to stop you. They're there to elevate you. So don't quit. Don't back down. Keep pushing. Because in the end, all the struggles will make you the person you were always meant to be. Every one of us is born with a purpose. And sometimes it feels like we're just drifting through life, not fully understanding what we're meant to do. We get caught up in the day, today's struggles, running after things that might seem important at the moment, but leave us feeling unfulfilled. Have you ever asked yourself, what is my purpose? Or why am I here? I know I have, and if you're being honest, I'm sure you have too. We all want to feel like we matter, like we're here for a reason. And trust me, you do matter. Your life has purpose, and nothing in this world happens by accident. Think about your life for a moment. Think about the times when things felt uncertain, or when you felt like you were stuck running in circles. You were probably searching for meaning, looking for something that made sense of all the chaos around you. It's easy to forget that the struggles you're facing right now, the questions you're asking, and even the doubts you're having are all part of the journey. Every one of those moments is shaping you for something greater. Sometimes we look at other people and wonder why they seem to have it all together. We see their success, their achievements, and we think, why can't I have that? But the truth is, we all have different paths. The purpose that you have in this life isn't the same as someone else's. Your path is uniquely yours, and what you're going through right now is setting you up for that purpose. I remember hearing a story about a man who wanted to be successful. He spent years building a business, working countless hours, sacrificing relationships, and pushing himself to the brink. But no matter how hard he tried, success seemed to elude him. He began to question if it was all worth it. One day, he decided to take a break from his work and went on a trip to clear his mind. It was during that time, when he slowed down and gave himself space to think, that he realized something. His true purpose wasn't in just building a business or making money. It was in helping others, using his skills and experiences to make a positive impact in his community. His life had a greater calling than he had originally understood. Once he recognized that, everything in his life started to fall into place. The business he had worked so hard to build began to thrive, not because he was focused on success, but because he was focused on serving others. Your purpose isn't always something you can see at first. It's not always clear, and sometimes it takes a shift in perspective to fully understand it. Just like that man, you might be putting in the work day after day and not seeing the results you expect. You may feel stuck, unsure of where you're going. But I promise you this, your purpose is bigger than what you see in front of you. Your life has been uniquely designed for something special, and every experience, every lesson, every victory, and every failure is part of that bigger picture. Think about a musician, for example. The best musicians don't just practice the easy parts of a song. They practice the difficult parts, the parts that challenge them and push them out of their comfort zone. The struggles they face in learning their craft are all part of their journey. And eventually, when they play that song perfectly, it's not just about the music. It's about the process that made them who they are. The purpose of their music wasn't just to play notes on a page. It was to express something deeper, to move people in ways that words alone can't. This is the power of purpose. It's about understanding that the road you're on might not always be smooth, but it's shaping you into the person you need to become. We all have moments where we doubt our purpose. We ask ourselves if it's all worth it, if we're on the right path, or if we'll ever truly make a difference. But those doubts are normal. They don't mean that you've lost your way. They just mean you're human and you're growing. Have you ever noticed how the most successful people, the ones who make the biggest impact in the world, didn't get there by following a perfect path? They faced rejection, they failed, they were criticized, but they kept moving forward because they had something that drove them, a deep, unshakable sense of purpose. They understood that the struggles were part of the journey. They understood that every step, no matter how difficult, was moving them closer to their true purpose. Maybe you're going through a tough time right now. Maybe things aren't going the way you planned, or you're feeling lost in your pursuit of purpose. But let me tell you, this is all part of it. Your purpose isn't something that's handed to you overnight. It's something that is discovered step by step through every challenge, every disappointment, and every triumph. Don't be afraid of the process. Embrace it, because your purpose is being revealed to you in every moment, in every lesson you learn along the way. You might not see it yet, but every single thing you've been through is leading you to the place where you're meant to be. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go the way you expect. But remember, there's a bigger plan at work. And when you trust that your purpose is unfolding before you, even in the midst of hardship, you will start to see the beauty in the struggle. You will begin to understand that the challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities to grow, to learn, and to step into your purpose. So don't give up. Don't let doubt cloud your vision, because you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and everything that's happening is leading you toward the greatness you were born for. Life can be overwhelming at times. There are moments when you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, and it seems like no one truly understands what you're going through. Those dark moments, when everything feels like it's falling apart, are some of the hardest to face. You might feel isolated, like you're walking through this storm alone, and that feeling can drain every ounce of energy and hope you have left. But here's the truth. You are never truly alone. You might feel like it at times, but that's just the weight of the moment talking. Deep down, there is a greater presence walking alongside you, guiding you through the hardest parts of your journey. Have you ever been in a place where you felt like you were the only one struggling? Maybe you faced a personal crisis, a health issue, or just felt the weight of daily life pushing you down. And as much as you tried to reach out, it felt like no one could really help. You asked yourself, why me? Or why do I have to go through this? But what if I told you that even in those moments, there was something more powerful happening? What if the struggle you're facing is not just about your personal pain, but about something bigger, something that's shaping you for your next chapter? Life doesn't come with a manual. There is no clear blueprint to follow, and no one can truly prepare you for every obstacle life throws at you. But that doesn't mean you're alone in the fight. I want you to think about something for a moment. Ty, how many times in your life have you been on the verge of giving up, but somehow you found the strength to keep going? How many times have you walked through a dark valley only to emerge stronger on the other side? It wasn't just your own strength that got you through. It was the unseen forces working on your behalf. It was the encouragement of friends, the guidance of mentors, and most importantly, the unshakable presence of something greater than yourself. You see, sometimes the toughest battles are the ones we face within ourselves. It's easy to look at someone else's life and think they have it all figured out. You see their smiles, their success, and you think they don't understand what it's like to struggle. But everyone has their own battles. Even those who seem to have it all together have faced moments of doubt, pain, and uncertainty. The difference is they kept moving forward. They didn't let those moments define them. They chose to believe that they weren't alone, even when everything seemed impossible. When you feel like you're carrying the world on your shoulders, remind yourself that there are people who have walked that same path before you. Think about someone you admire, maybe a friend, a relative, or even a public figure. Do you think their journey was free of struggles? Do you think they woke up every day with everything going their way? No, they too have faced moments where they thought they couldn't go on, but they found strength in something bigger than their circumstances. They knew they weren't alone. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Remember a time when you were facing a challenge that seemed insurmountable. Maybe you were struggling with a personal loss or dealing with a financial crisis. In that moment, it felt like you were all alone, didn't it? But somehow you made it through. You found a way to keep going, even when you didn't have all the answers. That strength didn't come from nowhere. It came from a place deep inside you, and it was nurtured by the love and support that surrounded you, even when you couldn't see it. There are people in your life who care about you, whether you realize it or not. Maybe they aren't always physically present, but their love, prayers, and encouragement are with you. You may not always feel it, but their energy is constantly pushing you forward, lifting you up when you feel like you can't stand. And don't forget about the unseen forces at work. Every time you felt like giving up, there was something that gave you the strength to rise. Maybe it was a random act of kindness, a moment of clarity, or the voice in your heart telling you to keep going. These aren't coincidences. They're signs that you're never truly alone in this world. When you feel lost, reach out. Talk to someone. Share your struggles. There's nothing weak about seeking support. In fact, asking for help shows strength and courage. The people around you want to see you succeed, and they want to lift you up. Never underestimate the power of a simple conversation or a heartfelt gesture of support. Even in your darkest moments, there is a community of people who care, and when you let them in, they will help carry the weight with you. Life's journey isn't meant to be walked alone. We are all connected in ways we don't always see. Every step you take, Every decision you make is part of a larger story. And no matter how hard things get, you are never facing them by yourself. The love and guidance you need are always there, whether you're aware of it or not. Sometimes it takes a little faith to see it, but it's always there. You are not alone. And when you remember that, you'll find the strength to keep going no matter what challenges you face. You ever notice how the toughest moments in your life often lead to the most significant changes? We all go through things that seem unbearable at first. Maybe you've lost a job that you thought you were secure in, or faced a relationship falling apart, or had something you worked so hard for slip right through your fingers. In those moments, it's easy to feel like the world is crashing down, like the weight of everything is too much to handle. But here's something I want you to consider. It's often in those exact moments when life is trying to teach you something deeper, something that's going to make you stronger, wiser, and more equipped for the future. Let's think about this. Imagine a person who's just been hit with some devastating news, whether it's the loss of a loved one or a personal setback that completely knocks them off their feet. In the moment, they're overwhelmed, unsure how they can go on, feeling like everything they've worked for is slipping away. But here's the thing, those moments, as painful as they are, can be transformative. They can push you in ways you never expected, pulling strength out of you that you didn't even know you had. Now, think about the process of forging steel. When steel is created, it doesn't come out perfectly formed from the start. It's heated to extreme temperatures, hammered, stretched, and shaped until it becomes a powerful, unbreakable material. The same goes for us. We go through struggles, pain, and hardships that can feel like they're breaking us. But in reality, they're shaping us. Every challenge you face is like that hammer strike to the steel. Each one might hurt. Each one might feel like it's taking a piece of you away. But in the end, it's only making you stronger. It's making you into something unshakable. Let me share a story of a woman who went through a life-altering challenge. She was in her early 30s, had a family, and a steady job. But life took an unexpected turn. She was diagnosed with a health condition that left her bedridden for weeks. Her doctors weren't sure what to expect, and she was terrified. She couldn't work. She couldn't care for her family the way she was used to, and she felt helpless. At that moment, it seemed like everything she had built was collapsing. But what she didn't realize at the time was that this challenge would be the catalyst for a transformation she never saw coming. As she lay in bed, struggling with her health, she started to reflect on her life. She started thinking about what truly mattered to her, what her purpose was, and what she wanted to leave behind for her children. During that time, she tapped into a deeper strength she didn't know she had. She began to see her struggle not as a defeat, but as an opportunity to redefine her life. When she recovered, she didn't go back to her old way of living. The challenge she had faced forced her to rethink everything. She shifted her focus from external success to internal fulfillment. She started a new business, one that allowed her to work from home, and more importantly, she became an advocate for others facing health challenges. That setback turned out to be one of the most transformative experiences of her life. It didn't just change her, it shaped the way she saw the world and the way she connected with others. The struggle didn't break her, it made her. This is what happens when we face transformative challenges. They don't just test us, they refine us. They strip away the things that no longer serve us, and they force us to tap in to the resilience and potential we never knew we had. Sometimes you don't realize your own strength until it's the only thing you have left to rely on. Think about it. Every time you face adversity, you have a choice. You can let it defeat you, or you can rise above it. The most successful, the most fulfilled people in the world aren't the ones who never faced difficulties. They're the ones who faced them and decided to use those challenges as fuel for their growth. Think about someone like a marathon runner. The marathon itself is grueling. It's painful, exhausting, and every runner will face moments during the race where they want to quit. But those are the moments that define them. It's not the finish line that makes them strong. It's every step, every hurdle, every muscle achy along the way. Those challenges are what push them to dig deeper, to tap into that well of strength they didn't know existed. And when they finally cross that finish line, they don't just celebrate the race. They celebrate the journey that got them there, because in the end, the journey, the struggle, is what shapes them into the person who can achieve such a feat. Your life works in much the same way. When you face challenges, it's easy to feel like you're going to break. It's easy to see them as obstacles, as things meant to slow you down or stop you. But what if they're not obstacles at all? What if they're stepping stones, each one pushing you forward, shaping you into the person you need to become to fulfill your true potential? Sometimes the most painful challenges are the ones that carry the biggest lessons, the ones that open your eyes to new possibilities, new opportunities, and new strengths that you never thought you had. You don't have to face every challenge alone, even when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. There's a power greater than yourself that is with you every step of the way. And as you continue to face the hardships of life, remember this: they are not here to defeat you. They are here to refine you, to prepare you for the next level of your life. So don't shrink from the struggle. Embrace it, learn from it, and use it to propel you toward the person you are meant to be. Because the greatest transformations don't happen when everything is easy. They happen when you face the most difficult moments and come out stronger on the other side. Fear has an incredible way of holding us back. It doesn't matter who you are or what you've been through. At some point, you've had to face fear. It could be fear of failure, fear of the unknown, or even fear of disappointing those around you. Fear can show up in many forms, but its power is the same. It makes us doubt ourselves, question our abilities, and sometimes paralyze us from taking action. We've all been there when we want to move forward, but fear whispers in our ears, telling us that we're not good enough, that we're not ready, or that we're simply going to fail. But here's the truth: fear is not the enemy. Fear itself doesn't have the power to stop you. The only thing that can stop you is your willingness to listen to fear instead of listening to the voice of faith inside you. Think about a time when you were about to do something big, something that made you nervous, something that made your heart race and your mind spiral into worst case scenarios. It might have been starting a new job, moving to a new city, speaking in public, or even asking someone out. The fear you felt in that moment was real, wasn't it? You were overwhelmed with doubts, wondering if you could really pull it off. You thought about everything that could go wrong. But there was something else within you, too. Something that told you to keep going, to take the risk, to take that first step. That voice, that sense of faith, is the key to breaking through fear. Let me give you an example. Think about the story of a person who wanted to start a business. This person had the skills, the passion, and the vision, but they were terrified. Terrified of failing, terrified of losing money, terrified of what people might think. For a long time, they let fear hold them back. They talked themselves out of it over and over again, convincing themselves that it wasn't the right time, that they didn't have enough resources, or that it would never work. But then something changed. They realized that they couldn't let fear control their life anymore. They took a deep breath, pushed aside the doubts, and took that leap of faith. And guess what? It wasn't easy. It was hard, filled with challenges and setbacks. But because they chose faith over fear, they learned, they grew, and they kept moving forward. That business eventually became successful, not because they didn't face fear, but because they faced it head on and chose to keep going. This is where faith comes into play. Faith doesn't mean that fear won't show up. It doesn't mean that we won't have moments of doubt or uncertainty. Faith means that even though fear is there, we choose to believe in something greater than that fear. We choose to trust that there's a plan for our lives that's bigger than our present circumstances. We choose to believe that we have what it takes to face whatever comes our way. And the thing about faith is that it doesn't require perfection. It just requires a willingness to take that first step, even when the whole path isn't clear. Think about a small child learning to walk. When they take their first steps, they don't know everything. They don't know how to balance perfectly. They don't know how to avoid falling. And they certainly don't know how to run yet. But what they do know is that they want to move forward. They trust that they can take that step, even if it means falling. And sure enough, after each fall, they get back up and try again. Faith works the same way. It's about taking that first step, even when the outcome is uncertain, and trusting that you will find your footing as you go. The child doesn't wait for fear to disappear before taking a step. They move despite it. And that's exactly what we need to do in our own lives. Fear will always be a part of the equation, but it doesn't have to be the deciding factor. Every time you face fear and choose to act in spite of it, you build your confidence. You learn that fear doesn't have the power to hold you back unless you let it. The more you choose faith over fear, the stronger your belief in yourself becomes. You start to realize that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. And that realization, that's the key to unlocking your potential. Take a moment to think about all the things you've already accomplished in your life. Think about those times when you were scared but did it anyway. Maybe you got rejected. Maybe things didn't work out perfectly, but you still took the leap. Those moments are proof that you have the power to overcome fear. The fear you face isn't the enemy. It's a signal that you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, that you're about to grow, and that you're about to step into a new chapter of your life. And the more you embrace that truth, the more unstoppable you'll become. It's time to stop letting fear control your decisions. Fear will always try to show up, but you don't have to listen to it. When you feel fear creeping in, remember that it's not the end of the story. It's just a chapter, and you have the power to rewrite it. Choose faith, choose action, and choose to believe in yourself. Every time you do, you take one step closer to the life you've always dreamed of. Sometimes life doesn't go the way you expect. You have a vision of how things should unfold, a picture of where you think you're supposed to be, and then suddenly everything changes. Things don't go according to plan. The job you thought was yours slips through your fingers. The relationship you invested in fades, or the dream you've been working towards seems impossible to reach. In these moments, it's easy to think that everything is falling apart. You start questioning your decisions, wondering if you're on the right path, or if the universe has somehow forgotten about you. But what if I told you that this disappointment wasn't a setback? What if I told you that it's part of a greater plan, one that you might not see right now, but is unfolding in ways you can't yet understand? We all have moments in our lives when we think we've reached a dead end. Perhaps you've been passed over for a promotion at work or faced a major financial setback that made you feel like everything you've worked for was in vain. There was a time when you could barely make sense of it. You felt as though you were stuck in a loop, unable to move forward. But what if, in that very moment, something greater was at work behind the scenes? What if everything you've been through, every struggle and every closed door, was leading you to something even better than you imagined? Imagine this, a person who's been struggling with a career that doesn't fulfill them day in and day out, working tirelessly, but feeling unappreciated. They work long hours, but no one notices. and the dream they had when they first started seemed so far out of reach. Then one day, something unexpected happens. A sudden change, a shift in the company, a new direction. At first, they feel the sting of it. This wasn't part of my plan, they think. How could this be happening to me? But in that moment, a new opportunity arises. It might seem small or insignificant at first, but it's the beginning of something much greater. Perhaps it's a new job, a different city, or an entirely different field. In hindsight, they'll look back and realize that the previous setbacks were necessary for this new chapter to unfold. Life works in mysterious ways. Sometimes it feels like things are falling apart when, in reality, they're just being rearranged. Think about all the times you've felt disappointed or frustrated when things didn't go your way. But in the long run, you realize that those very moments were preparing you for the next step, the next phase of your life that you couldn't have anticipated. Think about a time when you faced rejection, maybe from a job you wanted or someone you cared about. In the moment, it was painful, and you questioned why it had to happen. But now, looking back, you realize that that rejection was necessary for your growth. It was a pivot point, a sign that there was something better, something more aligned with who you are meant to become, just waiting for you on the other side. It's like planting seeds in the ground. When you plant a seed, you don't see the root system forming beneath the soil. You don't see the growth happening until it starts to sprout and break through the surface. But the seed is working. It's growing in ways you can't yet perceive, deep beneath the earth, until the moment is right for it to emerge. Your life is the same way. Sometimes you don't see the results immediately, but behind the scenes, everything is falling into place. The things that are meant for you, the opportunities you've yet to discover, are already being set up in ways you don't yet understand. Sometimes the waiting, the disappointment, and the frustration are just part of the preparation, and the moment will come when everything you've been through finally makes sense. There's a story of a woman who spent years building a business, pouring her heart and soul into it, only to watch it crumble. She had invested time, money, and energy into making it a success, but in the end, it just didn't work. At first, she was devastated. She couldn't understand why it had happened or how she would ever move on. But during that time, she took a step back and asked herself, what can I learn from this? What is this preparing me for? She didn't stay in the bitterness of failure. Instead, she learned new skills, broadened her perspective, and saw new possibilities that had never occurred to her before. Eventually, she transitioned into a new venture, one that was even more successful than the previous one. The failure of her business wasn't a sign of defeat. It was a necessary step that propelled her into something even better. Her journey was leading her to a place that was a perfect fit for her abilities, her values, and her dreams. When things don't go the way you plan, it's tempting to think that you failed or that you're stuck. But it's important to remember that there's a bigger picture at work. Your journey is being guided even when you can't see the way. Every disappointment, every failure, and every unexpected turn is preparing you for something greater. Maybe the promotion you didn't get was a sign that it's time to start your own business. Maybe the relationship that ended was making space for someone better suited for your life's path. Sometimes we can't see the plan in the moment because we're too close to it, too caught up in the how and why of it. But when you take a step back and trust that there's something greater unfolding, you'll find that everything is falling into place in its own time. The truth is, the path to greatness isn't always linear, it's not always smooth, and it's definitely not always predictable. Sometimes the most difficult parts of the journey are the very things that shape us into who we are meant to be. So when you find yourself frustrated or questioning why things aren't working out the way you envisioned, take a deep breath and trust that a greater plan is in motion. The pieces are falling into place, and though you might not see them now, they will lead you exactly where you need to go. And when you look back, you'll realize that everything, every twist, every turn, and every challenge was part of the beautiful design of your life. We often see obstacles as barriers, things that stand in our way, preventing us from achieving what we want. It's easy to think of them as the things that slow us down, stop our progress, or make us feel like we're stuck in one place. But what if I told you that obstacles are not the problem? What if I told you that those very obstacles, the ones that seem to block your path, are actually the opportunities you've been waiting for? In fact, the greatest opportunities in your life may come disguised as the very obstacles that feel impossible to overcome. Think about it for a second. Have you ever faced a challenge that at the time felt insurmountable? Maybe you lost a job, or a relationship ended, or you hit a roadblock in your business or personal life. In those moments, it's easy to feel defeated. You wonder how you can move forward when the very thing you were counting on is no longer there. But when you step back and look at it with a different perspective, you might see something else entirely. Those moments of hardship could be the very things that open the door to something greater, something that you couldn't have reached without going through the obstacle in the first place. Take the example of a person who faces a major setback at work. Perhaps they were passed over for a promotion they had worked hard for, or maybe they lost their job unexpectedly. At first, it feels like the worst thing that could have happened. There's fear, frustration, and a sense of helplessness. But what if, just what if, this setback is pushing them in a new direction toward an even better opportunity that they never would have considered if they had stayed in their comfort zone? Perhaps they use this time to explore a new career path, to learn new skills, or to start their own business. The obstacle in this case becomes the catalyst for a transformation they would never have experienced without that challenge. Think of the story of a well-known entrepreneur who started with nothing. They grew up in a tough neighborhood, faced discrimination, and had every reason to give up. They had multiple failed ventures before they finally found success. But every failure, every obstacle they faced taught them valuable lessons. Every setback gave them the resilience they needed to keep going. Each time they failed, they got closer to understanding what worked, what didn't, and how to refine their approach. The obstacle wasn't the end of their story. It was the beginning of their journey. It was the fire that forged their character, the lessons that shaped their future success. Without those obstacles, they wouldn't be the person they are today, and their success story would look entirely different. The reality is that every obstacle we face in life contains a lesson, a chance to grow, and an opportunity to become more than we were before. Let's say you've faced rejection. Maybe you've been turned down for a project you poured your heart into, or you've had an idea dismissed by people you thought would understand. It stings, it hurts. But think about how much rejection can teach you. Rejection can help you develop resilience, it can teach you humility, and it forces you to refine your ideas. Rejection forces you to improve, to ask yourself how you can be better, how you can approach things differently. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and forces you to innovate, to adapt, and to try again. It's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're on the path to something better. Sometimes the obstacles we face aren't just external challenges. Sometimes the hardest obstacles are the ones within us. The fear we hold, the self-doubt, the negative beliefs we carry from past experiences. These internal barriers can hold us back in ways that are often harder to see. But when we confront these obstacles head on, when we push through our own limitations, we unlock a new level of strength and potential that we never knew existed. Every time you push through fear, you grow. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you expand. And each time you face that internal resistance, you break down the walls that limit your growth. Think of a person who is terrified of public speaking. The idea of standing in front of a crowd causes them to freeze, to feel small, and to doubt their ability to communicate. But what if this obstacle, this fear, is the very thing that will propel them forward? What if the fear is the opportunity they need to overcome to discover a whole new level of confidence and self-expression? By choosing to face that fear, they grow, they learn how to control their nerves, how to speak with power and clarity, and how to engage with an audience. The obstacle becomes their stepping stone. It's the challenge they need to become a stronger, more confident version of themselves. The truth is, we are all going to face obstacles, whether we like it or not. Life doesn't give us a smooth ride, and it doesn't always hand us the answers on a silver platter. But every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. It's an invitation to grow, to challenge yourself, and to step into the next version of who you are meant to be. Every time you face a setback, you have the chance to rise higher, to push harder, and to become more than you were before. When you shift your perspective and see the obstacles as opportunities, you begin to understand that you're not just surviving the challenges of life, you're using them as the building blocks for your future success. So the next time you face an obstacle, whether big or small, don't see it as the end. See it as the beginning. See it as the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to move closer to your goals. Life is full of challenges, but those challenges are the very things that will shape your future. Embrace them, face them with courage, and use them to propel you toward your dreams, because in the end, obstacles aren't here to stop you. They're here to help you become the person you were always meant to be. Obedience. It's a word that many people shy away from. We often think of it as a term related to control, restriction, or submission. We imagine that to obey means to follow blindly, without questioning, without understanding. Yet, what if I told you that true obedience isn't about restriction at all? What if I told you that obedience, in its purest form, is actually a powerful tool that can elevate your life and take you places you never imagined? Obedience isn't about being forced to follow orders. It's about aligning with a purpose greater than yourself, understanding that there is a wisdom guiding you towards something better than you could have planned on your own. Let's think about the power of obedience for a moment. We all have moments in life when we're faced with decisions, paths that seem to lead in different directions. You might be at a crossroads in your career, unsure of whether to take a job that offers stability but lacks excitement, or to follow a passion that is uncertain but speaks to your soul. In these moments, we often rely on our own judgment, our intuition, or advice from others. But sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is to obey, to listen to that inner voice, that guidance that tells you which direction to take, even when you don't fully understand why. Take the story of someone who's spent years working in a corporate job, climbing the ladder, achieving success. They have everything the world says they should want: a big paycheck, a comfortable lifestyle, respect. Yet, something inside of them feels empty. They hear a whisper, a subtle call, urging them to do something different, to follow a passion they've always kept on the back burner. It's a big decision, a leap into the unknown. Everything they've worked for up until this point seems to be at risk. But there's a deep knowing inside them that this is the right path. They decide to obey the call, to step into the unknown, and pursue a dream that's been waiting for them. It's not easy, it's scary, uncertain, and at times, it feels like a foolish choice. But they obey the pull, and as they do, they begin to see opportunities unfold that were never available to them before. They start a business, they find new passions, they meet people who inspire them, and they create a life that is not just successful in the traditional sense, but deeply fulfilling. What appeared to be a risky decision turns out to be the best choice they ever made. Their obedience led them to a life they couldn't have imagined in their wildest dreams. Obedience isn't always about following a path you can see clearly ahead of you. Sometimes it's about trusting in the process, trusting that there's a bigger plan in motion, even when things don't make sense. It's easy to obey when everything aligns, when you can clearly see where you're going. But the true power of obedience is in those moments when you can't see the full picture, when you don't understand why or how of it all. Think about a time when you've been faced with an unexpected challenge. Maybe you were asked to take on a project at work that seemed overwhelming, or perhaps you had to make a difficult decision in your personal life. In those moments, your first instinct might be to resist, to question, or to doubt. But what if, instead of resisting, you chose to obey, to trust that there's something greater at work, even if you can't see it right away? There's a story of a young woman who felt stuck in her life. She had big dreams, but the obstacles seemed insurmountable. She had a job that didn't fulfill her, relationships that left her feeling drained, and a sense that she was meant for more, but didn't know how to get there. One day, she met someone who gave her a simple piece of advice. Just obey the next step, even if it's small. Trust that every step will lead you closer to your purpose. At first, it didn't make sense to her. After all, she had been planning and trying to force things to work for years. Why would obedience make a difference now? But she decided to give it a try. Instead of forcing things, she began to take one small step at a time, obeying the guidance she received, even if she didn't fully understand where it would lead. As she took those steps, doors began to open in ways she never expected. She started to meet people who supported her, she found new opportunities, and she developed the skills and confidence she needed to pursue her dreams. Obedience led her down a path that she never would have imagined, and in the process, it unlocked doors she never knew existed. Obedience also has a powerful effect on how we relate to the world around us. When we choose to obey, we are acknowledging that we are part of something larger, something more significant than ourselves. We are aligning our lives with a greater purpose, one that transcends our immediate desires and individual goals. Obedience, in this sense, is an act of faith, faith that we are being guided towards something better, something more in line with our true calling. It's about stepping into the flow of life, trusting that there's a force bigger than us that's guiding us, even when we can't always see the way. Look at the example of someone who faces a personal crisis. They might be struggling with a major loss, whether it's the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, or a deep sense of disappointment. In these moments, it can be easy to feel hopeless, to fall into despair and question why things are happening the way they are. But if this person chooses to obey the process of healing, to trust that there is a way through the pain, they will find themselves emerging stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Their obedience to the process of healing, even when it feels uncertain, leads them to a place of peace and understanding they never thought possible. It's in those moments of obedience, when they trust in the journey, even when they don't understand it, that they discover their true strength and purpose. Obedience is not about passively accepting whatever comes your way. It's about actively choosing to follow the guidance that is available to you, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. It's about aligning with something greater than your own desires, trusting that there is a higher wisdom that knows what's best for you. Every time you choose to obey, you are opening yourself up to new possibilities, to new growth, and to a deeper understanding of your own potential. It's a powerful act of trust and faith, one that can transform your life in ways you never imagined. The power of obedience is in its ability to guide you, to lead you down a path of purpose, fulfillment, and growth. When you obey, you align yourself with the greater plan of your life, And in doing so, you unlock the doors to your future. As you stand at the crossroads of life, remember that the path ahead of you is not defined by the obstacles you face, but by the courage you choose to embrace. Every challenge, every setback, every detour is not there to break you, but to build you into the person you are destined to become. Life will not always give you the answers you seek, but it will always provide you with the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to rise above. The question is not whether you will face challenges, but whether you will rise to meet them with strength, determination, and obedience to the path that calls to you. We often hear the phrase, "Your life is in your hands." But the truth is, your life is not in your hands alone. It's in the hands of a purpose greater than your own, a force that guides you, leads you, and shapes your destiny. And when you align yourself with that purpose, when you trust that you are being guided by something bigger than yourself, you unlock a power that transcends anything you could achieve on your own. The journey may not always be easy, but the destination will always be worth the struggle. Remember, it's not the circumstances that define your future, it's the choices you make today. The decision to move forward in faith, to take that first step, even when the road ahead is unclear, is what will determine the greatness of your tomorrow. Success is not a destination, it's a journey that unfolds one step at a time. And as you walk that journey, you'll realize that the obstacles you once feared are the very things that have prepared you for the life you are meant to live. When you choose to obey the guidance you are receiving, when you trust the process, you align yourself with the flow of life, and in that flow, you'll discover that you are capable of achieving things far beyond your imagination. The world will try to tell you that it's impossible, that your dreams are too big, that your goals are out of reach. But let me tell you this, the impossible is simply the possible waiting to be unlocked. Greatness is not reserved for the chosen few. It is available to anyone who dares to believe in themselves and in the power of their purpose. Every person you meet, every moment you experience, every challenge you face is part of a greater plan for your life. They are not random. They are intentional. Life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. And when you understand that, you realize that everything you encounter is a lesson, an opportunity, a step closer to your destiny. Your obedience to the process will unlock doors you never even knew existed, doors that will lead you to a future greater than anything you could have planned on your own. As you continue on your journey, don't be afraid to embrace the unknown. Don't be afraid to follow the path that may not make sense to others, because when you are obedient to your calling, to your purpose, you are walking in the direction of your greatest success. And success, my friends, is not about what you accomplish in the eyes of the world. It's about what you accomplish in the eyes of your own heart, in the fulfillment of your own purpose, and in the impact you make on the lives of those around you. The world is full of dreamers, but the world needs doers. It needs people who are willing to step out of their comfort zones, who are willing to take risks, who are willing to be obedient to their calling, no matter how challenging the journey may seem. Greatness is born from those who dare to be different, who dare to trust the process, and who have the courage to keep moving forward, even when the road gets tough. So don't wait for the perfect moment to start now. Don't wait for everything to be aligned perfectly. Align yourself with the purpose that is guiding you, and everything else will fall into place. You are not here by accident. Your life has meaning, your journey has purpose, and you are being guided toward greatness. Embrace the challenges, embrace the process, and trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Keep moving forward, keep trusting, and keep obeying the guidance that is leading you to the life you were always meant to live. Your destiny is waiting for you, and it's far greater than anything you could have imagined. Now is the time to step into it.